being able to play multiple different roles in the game at a high level is difficult. Like everyone has different little nuances and things that they have to do in their role to make the game work and make like their job easier, or other people's jobs easier. And being able to do that's fucking hard. Like it is not an easy thing. So just being able to showcase that, I think, is something that's really important.
This is Azento from Esports Heaven, and I have here with me Inero, coach for Golden Guardians. Now, let's talk about the roster because I mean you got Tanner time. So, Damonte, why the pickup?
Um, I mean, honestly, it was just something that kind of popped up during the off season. Um, I don't know which way it happened first, whether it was Dig or us reached out, but we had like the opportunity and we figured, like why not try it out? We had explored getting Tanner in the last off season, and it didn't work out. We wanted to have the dynamic of like Grayson and Tanner together since we wanted to test out like the kind of more established NA mids and see how that looked for everything. And then, yeah, it didn't happen, but this opportunity popped up, ended up doing trials, and yeah, Tanner was the option everyone on the team wanted to go with.
Yeah. So GoldenGlue kind of sounded a tad shocked on Twitter, at least initially. I mean, for those that are confused on the situation of him, getting notified of the roster change, like, could you clear the air about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously more of a shock in the fact that I'm sure he was expecting to be able to start this split. But we started things off with an expectation that one, academy players would be getting trials, just in general, going into this split. That started with Darshan and Ablaze Olive both getting trials towards the beginning of everything. And with that even starting up and the potential for the Tanner thing even happening, Grayson was given the ability to talk to teams. Obviously with the expectation, like, this doesn't mean you're out, but just to make sure, like, we don't want him to get fucked over in any situation or have him just be like screwed out of an opportunity if like at the end it ended up being like Tanner came here and he was the one that we wanted. Or even in the situation if like Nick was someone that we wanted to go with, like, okay, at least like you can explore and know if an LCS team wants you. So definitely was not like a thing of last minute like finding out through this report going out. It's like, no, he was aware. It's just more so of like, I'm sure a shocker that, we got to playoffs. Grayson got to play a split, got to playoffs. Like, feedback from our side was very positive about things. Obviously, we gave Grayson different parts of his play that we wanted to work on, like the positional coaches and everything on that end, working with him. But it wasn't a case of like, oh, Grayson, we think that you suck or anything. And then just replaced him behind his back. It was just opportunity popped up. We let him know that opportunity popped up and gave him, pathways to talk to other people.
I mean, good thing it wasn't like an Echo Fox situation, maybe.
No, I feel like if there's one thing I'm very much against, it is stuff like that. Like, that was the Echo Fox situation was one of the bigger parts of like me leaving that. Just things like that happening, like, I don't agree with. Obviously, it's competition. Like, we're gonna have to do what we can to make upgrades, and like, I'm always of the opinion that like I'm okay with being proven wrong. If a player like gets replaced and proves me wrong, cool. But I don't want like that player to be like fucked over in the last second and have like nothing to do. Like, at least for me, the org isn't like pushing for that on their end where like they have the opportunity to talk to people and get a chance. I would very much not stand with that type of thing existing. I think like I have a pretty good track record of showing that I don't deal with that very well when players get screwed over.
So many were dubious about that Keith move to support. What are your thoughts about that after last year and maybe some hindsight now?
Yeah, people obviously, like, we expected it. We're just pretty against the Keith thing. I still stand by the fact that like the replacement for Keith like was a very hard decision for me because of the fact that I was one of the people that kind of pushed Keith towards that decision of something like he could and should do for his career. And it didn't work out. And like that bummed me out. I think Keith like performed better and better constantly in the things we were having him do. It was just a really unfortunate situation where like Jay was providing those things that we needed still. And like Jay and Victor had a good relationship again. They were doing great when they did play together in duos, and it just made sense to be something that we tried again and tried to see.
Yeah.
Like I get the community feedback. I'm okay with people saying like, oh, "You guys are idiots for doing this." I'm not happy if people flame Keith because I think Keith did everything like he fucking could to try and be good at it and to do what he can, and he improved constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we made the right decision with moving to Huhi, and I think Jay's done great. I think Jay's definitely stepped up. He was performing on the things that we needed as a team, and I was happy for that. Like, I'm okay with people saying like you guys were wrong, and we knew it. You know, like that's okay with me. I just don't like seeing the people can't say that stuff without like flaming sometimes like the players themselves, and I never want to see that. Like I was really happy with what Keith was doing. I was really happy with what Jay was doing. Even when Jay was like replaced in this, like I was still so happy with what Jay was doing. It's just we wanted to try something out since the dynamic wasn't working so well.
So how is Huhi, doing at support? How's that whole thing shaping up?
I think it's going great so far. Like Jay is good. I think Jay's biggest strengths as a player when he played mid lane translate over to support really well. Obviously, like it takes time to get good at support. Like very much exampled with both Jay and Keith. Someone can't just jump into the role and immediately be good just because they have like knowledge of the role. There's a lot of things they have to learn and get used to. But Jay's strengths carry over to that role really, really well. He's not going to be like the best support right now, 100%. But their dynamic in bot lane definitely leads to them being one of the more like annoying bot lanes for other people to deal with, and that's good. That's what I want. I think like fans don't see it. It's not like we have like big brand names in bot lane like FBI, Huhi. It's like half the people don't even remember FBI if they're talking about stuff, But like they're good. Like they're a good bot lane for sure, 100%. And they're working on things together and constantly getting better. So like Jay's doing good, in my opinion. Like he's doing great.
So tell me the truth. Have you guys tried Aurelion Sol as a support?
Aurelion Sol, we've joked about it, man, but not yet. Maybe send out Aurelion Sol. Aurelion Sol gets the farm. Maybe that's the move. You can roam mid lane instead. Maybe.
So what's your opinion, though, I guess in a more serious take, of NA players mastering multiple roles in solo queue? I mean, I allude this to maybe the story of Mata, and I don't know if this is legend or not, that he had 5 challenger accounts, each for each different role. So what's your take on this?
I think it's definitely something that's, if you can do, is really important. Like it shows that you have a really good grasp of the game, like as a whole, and not just necessarily like your role. Being able to play multiple different roles in the game at a high level is difficult. Like everyone has different little nuances and things that they have to do in their role to make the game work and make like their job easier, or other people's jobs easier. And being able to do that's fucking hard. Like it is not an easy thing. So just being able to showcase that, I think, is something that's really important. I know like Darshan this off season was spending a lot of time playing just off-roll games. Like me and him talked a lot about things. Like he was playing bot lane, so we would play like duo together sometimes and just talk about it. I know he's been talking to like LS too to try and find like other individual pathways for coaching. And that stuff's good. Like he's learning more about another role and how his impact in the game impacts that role, and like what he does in the game impacts that role, so he can understand it in a better way rather than just like, hey man, I'm winning my role, like I'm pushing my lane, why is this not making you win the game? I think that stuff's important. I think it really does a lot. I think to be a truly great player, you have to understand like every other role to a pretty in-depth amount.
Okay, so finally, I want to get your predictions. Top 3 teams in the LCS, excluding Golden Guardians, of course.
Yeah, always excluding us, of course. Okay, top 3 excluding us. I think obvious one is C9. Like, it was definitely last split, like C9 and then like everyone else. It was a pretty big gap between. I'd say past that, I would very much be excited to see how TSM does with the new group. I think it should be good for them. They'll probably gel more. They've got like a good core of people that enjoyed playing together and like were friends, obviously. So I think they should be one of the top 3 teams. And then past that, I would imagine it would be something along the lines of FlyQuest staying up there still. I think they still just have a good group of experienced players that have fairly good attitudes in team. People will give like solo and stuff shit like that, but like in team environment, it's very different, and I think that team will do well. I don't know. I don't know how EG can do with their stuff. I know they got Huni coming in, but I don't know like how much he's actually going to play or anything, or if they even plan to have him play, or if it's just like a long-term thing. But that's what I imagine would be the top 3 that aren't us.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for your time. This has been Azento from Esports Heaven and Inero from Golden Guardians. Appreciate it, man.